We are Timbersports.
United by passion for the sport.
And competition.
We chop down racism.
And say yes to tolerance.
Yes to tolerance.
Say ja till tolerans.
Yes to tolerance.
Yes to tolerance.
是的，理解宽容。
Powiedz tak tolerancji. Ja ci tolerancji.
We are Timbersports.
A very warm welcome to all STIHL Timbersports fans around the world, and hello 2021. We really hope you had a great ride into the new year, and here we are with a brand new format for you, the virtual European Hot Saw Challenge. And as always, it's my great pleasure to welcome our expert, Troy Mannering. Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year to you too, Marcus. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much indeed. You look great. You look fit. This is the 2nd of January and you're in shape, my friend.
I wouldn't call it in shape, but I'm definitely not hurting, that's for sure. I mean, we kept it mellow like everybody else had to this year due to our current circumstances. But yeah, it's all good. Glad to be here.
Well, we've got a great new format coming up and it's virtual. Can you explain the virtual in this special content for us?
Well, as we all know out there, we're not allowed to have any of the big competitions with lots of people gathering. And even in the case of, just the athletes gathering, it got shut down closer to the end of the year. So we had to come up with a concept that made it easier for the athletes to keep in the flow, to keep the action going, and give them an opportunity to compete. And here we are with the virtual European Hot Saw Challenge.
And it's the first competition of the year. Of course, you can take a closer look at everything that happened in the year 2020. We'll show you the schedule right now. These were the competitions starting from the 5th of September all the way through to the 2nd of January that we have now. And that's all possible to see on video on demand. And trust me, you do not want to miss out on this because there are some absolutely fantastic competitions to be watched on demand.
No doubt about it.
Oh yeah, so let's return to the first ever virtual European Hot Saw Challenge. We've got 8 competitors, Troy, and a competition that's going to be very fast, very exciting, and maybe also a little dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the hot saw is one of the most dangerous pieces of equipment out there. It's a performance saw. That chain moves at 250 kilometers an hour. That in itself is a big danger factor. The other thing that's going to make this different is we're going to have 2 athletes going on head-to-head, which is unusual for the Hot Saw Challenge. Usually what we're seeing is just 1 athlete between 2 plexiglass walls for safety, and this time we're going to see 2 guys out there on stage. Best time counts, moving on to the next round. So it's a different format, but it's going to be a lot of fun for all you gas heads out there.
Definitely. So let's take a closer look at the official competition format. Everything you need to know coming up right now.
The Hot Saw. These custom-built, race-tuned machines have been the decider more than once in STIHL Timbersports individual competitions. The maker or the breaker. Since most of the STIHL Timbersports competitions needed to be canceled due to the COVID pandemic, we're happy to present you with a completely new virtual format. The 8 best hot saw athletes in Europe from 2020 remotely fired up their hot saws to find out who will be able to tame them and be the fastest to win the virtual European Hot Saw Challenge. They competed remotely from their home countries in Sweden, France, the Czech Republic, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Poland, Germany, and Austria. The timber was produced in accordance with STIHL Timbersports international regulations and was allocated to the athletes online before being transported to the respective competition locations. At all locations, the times were recorded with identical video technology and analyzed in detail by STIHL Timbersports referees in order to determine the results of the competition. The athletes find out their times and points only afterwards. All 8 athletes will cut the hot saw 4 times. The first time is a time trial to determine the starting position for the following quarterfinals. The quarterfinals are a classic knockout system, and only the faster of the 2 athletes will make it to the semifinals. After the semifinals, the slower athletes will fight for the third place in the small final, while the virtual European Hot Saw Challenge winner will be crowned in the grand finale. So get those saws ready and the spike shoes tied for the virtual European Hot Saw Challenge.
Well, now that you know how it works, it's time to take a closer look at our 8 athletes.
All right, well, there you're looking at Martin Komarek. I mean, he's more or less a legend in the sport, and you see 5-time Czech national champion. He's been around in the individual championships so many times. He's come real close, but he's had a lot of bad luck with his hot saw in the past, so hopefully he can get past that here. Well, Ferry Swan, he is a little guy, but he is the future star in STIHL Timbersports. Absolutely a fantastic competitor. His hot saw, we haven't seen a whole lot from him, but we do know that he has been working a lot on it. So the one thing that we could say is a weakness for him is the hot saw. So this will be a good challenge for Ferry Swan. Well, what can you say about Michal Dubicki? He is an absolute beast. He is so strong, has so much power. If anybody can wrestle with one of these highly tuned saws, it is him. Polish national champion 2019 and 2020, so he should be a good one to watch today. Armin Kugler, the unassuming Austrian. I mean, to look at him, you would say, Timbersports athlete? Surprising? Absolutely. He's got power, he's got skill, he's got targeting, and his saw is good. Well, Martin Harms, we've seen as a regular on the national team for the Netherlands, 5-time Dutch champion, as well as you see there, a third-place European hot saw ranking in 2020. So should be interesting to watch how he does today. Now, Christoph Geisler from Switzerland, at 46 years of age, he hasn't lost a step. In fact, I think he is probably the fittest he's been in a long time. He's been working really hard on his fitness level, and that will definitely help him in the hot saw. Back-to-back German champion Danny Marr. He's got a good saw as well. He's a strong boy. Let's see how he does today in our virtual European Hot Saw Challenge. Pierre Puy-Barret from France, probably one of the most consistent athletes out there. He's come so close on so many occasions, but they say the hot saw is the make or break discipline. Let's see if it can make his day today.
Oh, wow. These guys look vicious and very, very dangerous. Troy, how dangerous is a hot saw?
Incredibly dangerous. I mean, these are, as you heard from the discipline description later, this is an incredibly tuned up saw. The chain speeds are incredibly fast. You can't mess around with these things, and one mistake could be disaster for a competition, or hopefully not worse.
Well, let's take a closer look at everything that Troy just explained. Here is tool and discipline of the hot saw. Enjoy.
These custom handmade race-tuned machines are built for maximum power and precision and to cut the wood as fast as possible in a competition. They are built with a 60 to 80 horsepower single-cylinder two-stroke engine, often taken from a snowmobile or high-powered motorbike. The hot saw can weigh up to 30 kilograms and its chain rotates at over 250 kilometers an hour. The cost of a competition hot saw used in STIHL Timbersports is upward of €6,000. Hot saw. For the hot saw, power saws are called into action and the athletes have a space of 15 centimeters to cut 3 complete discs off a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. Jumping the start or cutting over the line will result in a disqualification.
All right, so there you see our quarterfinal heat coming up. We're jumping straight into the quarterfinals with Pierre Puy-Barré going up against Martin Komarek, Martin Harms against Armin Kugler, Danny Marr against Ferry Swan, and Christoph Geisler going up against Mikhail Dubicki. So it's going to be the top guys from each of these 4 heats moving on to the semifinal. And then the same procedure in this knockout format moving on to the small final and the final. So let's get started here with our quarterfinal action. And the first heat coming out onto stage will be Pierre Puy-Barré and Martin Komarek.
60 seconds to warm up.
So the guys do get an opportunity to get those saws warmed up. They can't start them cold. That just doesn't work that way. And we'll see our first head-to-head coming up shortly here. And there we see Martin Komarek from the Czech Republic warming up his saw. And our breakdown. So as I said earlier on, Martin Komarek has had a lot of bad luck with the hot saws in the past. He's just, I don't know, it's sort of like a monkey on his back. So could this be the make or the break for him? Let's find out.
2, 1, go!
Wow, Pierre Puy-Barré with a great flow there, 6.26. Martin Komarek with a 7.43. He was a little bit tentative getting into the top of the log, and as you see, his side is now under review. Is that bug in his collar again with the hot saw? We hope for Martin's sake it's not, but Pierre Puy-Barré with a great time to start the day off.
Cut the line.
Oh no, a DQ with a cut line for Martin Komarek, and his bad luck with the hot saw continues. And remember, 30 kilogram heavy saw, and that motor spinning has a lot of centrifugal force, so there's a ton of things happening with this saw. And then once you reach the wood, it all gets really wild because that saw wants to pull, and you can see right there on Martin's saw how he's really cutting right into that line. He didn't leave himself any room at all. All right, so Martin Komarek with an unfortunate DQ in heat number 1. Pierre Puy-Barré will be moving on to the semifinals there. And we move on to quarterfinal number 2 with Martin Harms and Armin Kugler. Quick warm-up for Martin Harms, and you can hear that saw of his. Sounds a little bit different than the ones we just heard earlier. A lot throatier. And here we're going to get a direct side-by-side comparison of the saw sounds, and there's a different blade on that saw as well. It's not quite so fat in the middle. And there you can see in the middle of the screen, world record for the hot saw is 5:20. Both of these guys well off on their personal bests. Are we going to have an improvement here today? Let's see.
3, 2, 1, go!
Good start by both guys. Martin Harms with a great first couple of cuts, thin to win. Oh, and he's got it in 5.95. That's a fantastic time for Martin Harms. And Armin Kugler with a 6.79, just 84 hundredths of a second back. Martin Harms with a great start, really aimed that saw well to get into the block first. He had a thin first cut and a very nice thin second cut. Here you can see that last cut's a little bit thicker, it's got an angle, but he didn't go over the line, so that's a big deal. And on the side from Armin Kugler, yeah, that is a very accurate cut right there. You can see the lines that he's marked in. He had 3 good cookies on the deck by the looks of it, so nothing under review in this heat. Both of these guys will get times, but it's going to be Martin Harms moving on to the semifinal with Armin Kugler being eliminated. So there you see Martin Harms. He'll join Pierre Puy-Barré in semifinal heat number 1. And by the way, that is the time to beat for now, 5.95 seconds. Very, very quick time and not that far off the world record. All right, quarterfinal number 2. Danny Marr from Germany right there. And Ferry Svan will be going up against Danny Marr in this one. There's Ferry from Sweden. Both of these guys, big fat saw blades, similar setups for both of them, so it should be a nice even battle as we take a look at the side-by-side here. Yeah, both of them pretty decent times. Danny Marr with a 5.70, so his personal best is quick. And as I said earlier on, Ferry Svan still finding his way with the hot saw, so let's see how he does.
1, go!
Ooh, nice and even at the start, but Danny Marr, oh, he's really quick, 5.57. Not his personal best, but a very good time and the fastest time of the day so far in the hot saw. And all that preparation done beforehand to make these cuts. Watch this. Throws away that starter handle, gets right in. A bit of a downswing. If he can clean that up a bit, he'll be definitely a lot faster, but he had nice cuts there onto Ferry Svan's side. That first cut got a little bit slow on him, and then he was very tentative, but he wanted to make sure that he didn't make any mistakes. So as time goes by, he will definitely improve. So that means Danny Marr moves on to the semifinals with a time of 5.57, so far holding down the top spot. And we see there him switching over to semifinal number 2 in our tree. And we move on to our next heat with the granddaddy caddy, Christoph Geisler, 46 years old. I can only hope that I will be in this kind of shape as I age. I mean, he is just in fantastic shape. And then we have the beast, Michał Dubicki from Poland, a very, very strong character. And actually a super serious guy when you see him normally, but quite funny when you get him in a one-on-one situation. And you can see there, actually, Christoph Geisler's national record for the hot saw is 6.10, so he has the advantage here with experience.
3, 2, 1, go!
And Christoph Geisler gets in it right away, but these guys are almost dead even. Geisler just a little bit faster on his second 2 cuts has got a 6.34, and Michał Dubicki with a 6.77, only 43 hundredths back. Wow, that was close. There you can see the experience of Christoph Geisler just with a fantastic set of cuts. So we'll see him moving on to the semifinal. And Dubicki, bit of an angle on his first cut, but no harm done at all as he had 3 good cookies on the deck as well. All right, so Michał Dubicki eliminated in this one, and Christoph Geisler moves over to the semifinals. And there you see our semifinals are set. Pierre Puy-Barré will be going up against Martin Harms. Danny Marr will be up against Christoph Geisler.
Oh, wow. What a start into this new competition, the Virtual European Hot Saw Challenge. And Troy, I think we should take a closer look in a head-to-head of the top 2 just to find out what made the difference.
Absolutely. Let's take a look. All right. So let's take a look at this one here between Danny Marr and Martin Harms. This wasn't a head-to-head heat, but we could see these are the two fastest times of the day. Danny Marr, he just got in there really quick. He was a little bit faster on the entrance into that first cookie, and that just kept the flow going for him, and it just went by so quickly, you barely blink an eye. Crazy.
And tell you what, I'm pretty sure that Danny Marr was practicing with Dirk Brown, because the last time that Dirk Brown was in this studio, he told me he's been doing a lot of stuff with Danny Marr, and I think you can already see the results. Talking about Dirk Brown, he's been mentioned many times today because he is the world record holder, and of course, Dirk is an absolute legend. Take a closer look at this, and then you know why.
Jetzt haben wir den Besten der Welt in dieser Disziplin. Ein guter Wechsel von Dirk Braun. Sieht gut aus bei Dirk Braun. Wir haben den Fokus, das ist richtig schnell bei Dirk Braun. Da geht er jetzt absolut an sein Level.
Hands on the wood. Get set.
Für Dirk Braun, neue persönliche Bestzeit. Und wenn das freigegeben wird, dann ist es auch ein neuer Weltrekord. Ich flippe aus, aber wir warten erst mal ab.
Well, that is exactly how to celebrate a world record. This man, he's one of a kind, isn't he?
Absolutely. Sun's out, guns out for Dirk Brown. I mean, the guy has power, and you could see it's not only about the power. Without control, the power doesn't mean anything. And you see when he did those cuts, the first cut was great, and he didn't have a downswing. After he was through, he came back up, and he was just perfect. So 5.20 is a world record, and nobody's really gotten all that close yet. Fastest time of the day so far is 5.57. So, yeah, it's close, but it's not really close if you think about the speed these guys are moving at.
Time to find out what's going to be happening in our semifinals. If we take a closer look, the first semifinal will be Pierre Puyberet taking on Martin Harms. And in semifinal number 2, we'll see Danny Marr against Christoph Geisler. So that's going to be real tough.
Let's get it on. All right, as you heard, heat number 1 in the semis, Pierre Puyberet going up against Martin Harms. And you can see the two different saws lined up against each other here. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, Martin Harms with a slight advantage here, and he gets it done in 6.26, and Pierre Puyberet in 6.58. And it was just a slight delay by Pierre Puyberet getting into the block at the top. He wanted to make sure he was lined up. You can see his saw right here. He was really high on the entrance, making sure that line was exactly right. And if you pay attention in these slow motions, when that saw hits the log, it wants to drag the whole saw body and motor towards the log. And that is where that control comes in. Watch here. Martin Harms actually did a great job to control it there. A really minimal downswing to come back up for cut number 2, and then cut number 3 was real close to the line. All right, so Pierre Puyberet out, and Martin Harms is in, and he will go on to the final. Pierre Puyberet will battle for 3rd place in the small final. And we're moving on to semifinal number 2 as we motor through here, and it's Danny Marr with the fastest time of the day so far going up against Christoph Geisler.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, Danny Marr again with a great entry, a little slow on the upstroke. Oh no, and he made a mistake on his 3rd cut, and Geisler gets it in 6.36, and Danny Marr, an unfortunate mistake on cut number 3 with a 6.75. That means his great performance in the quarters doesn't help him out much. Let's watch here on this 3rd cut. Gets a little bit tentative, realigns, and goes back down. He's got a full cookie, but He went, I don't know if he's going to get a DQ. I don't think he went over the line, but it took too much time. Christoph Geisler, meanwhile, he had that flow, and that last cut for him was on point as he cut a clean third cookie. Time wasn't super fast, but in this case, it doesn't matter. He's going to the final, and Danny Marr will battle it out in the small final.
Well, hot saw is just so brutal. And of course, we're going to go to the head-to-head to find out what made the difference about the two fastest cuts in this semi-final competition. Let's take a closer look.
All right, here we see this head-to-head of the two fastest times in the semi. And there's Christoph Geisler on the right and Martin Harms on the left. And so close, and you could see it was just a little bit more of a swing by Christoph Geisler, and but I mean, those two guys were really on point with each other.
And again, that was so close, and still, there are small differences. Everybody has their own technique. Troy, what would you advise for the final? Because that's what it all goes down to. Is it like all about the upwards movement, or is it, you know, concentrate on the transition? I just can't say, but they seem to have a different technique, and at the end it was like that much between them.
Yeah, I mean, yes to all. Technique, of course, plays a role. As you saw in the piece earlier with Dirk Brown, it's control. I mean, if that saw gets into the wood, it wants to pull forward with the speed of the chain, and you have to be able to control that on the downward stroke. And, of course, that first thin cookie is also very, very important. You want to make sure you get thin to win, but it's not always that way. So everything just plays a role, and these saws are so finicky. Anything can happen, as you see with Danny Marr. He was great in the quarterfinal and just made a mistake on his third cut in the semi, and that was that.
Yeah, and that's what the competition is all about. We call it the maker or the breaker. Bam.
This is the one.
Looking at the individual competition, most of the time it's the hot saw that makes the difference.
Yeah, probably the most important event, but yeah, also the most frustrating.
These saws are so incredibly powerful and dangerous.
Usually the hot saw is the slider.
Stand to your timber.
Hot saw. Hot saw. Like I can't describe to you when we're out there under pressure.
Saw starts well. First disc looks solid. Cut is good.
You know, you're always ending the competition on a hot saw, so you know where you're going to be at when you finish. So you're either at a real big high or just is what it is.
Nice clean cuts, easy and relaxed.
Der Hot Saw ist für mich die geilste Disziplin der Welt.
5, 6, 8, Robert Abner, 3 on the deck.
Once the competition comes, anything can happen. Oh no, a false start by Sterling Hart. What a disaster.
Yeah, it was a disappointment for me. Happens though. It's part of competing.
I saw there's 3 good discs there, but then let that nose come right up underneath the crossover line.
Fortunately, a disqualification.
It all relies on the hot saw.
If you have bad luck or if you did wrong, it's sport. Just
oh my goodness. What an absolute disaster. The chain came off.
I was not disappointed because everybody see that I can be with the guys in front.
Yeah, it's the make or break event, you know.
I think you love and you hate it.
Try to make 3 good cuts and no disqualification.
The hot saw is where it's all won, so that's the best event.
All right, so we've gotten through the quarterfinals, we've gotten through the semifinals, and now we are into the 2 main heats. The small final will come first between Pierre Puy-Barré and Danny Marr. Now, we saw Danny Marr had a great quarterfinal with the fastest time of the day, but unfortunately a small mistake on his third cut in the semifinal means that he's going to have to battle with Pierre Puy-Barré from France for third place. All right, so Danny Marr, his time earlier on was 5 and change. A good time, but like I said, the mistake in that semifinal was the difference maker. Let's see if he can redeem himself here. does it. 5-8-1 for Danny Marr in this small final. And if everything is all good, then he will be third place in the competition. Meanwhile, Pierre Puy-Barré, his is under review as they check the lines here to make sure that nothing has been cut over.
DQ, cut the line.
Ah, that is unfortunate for Pierre Puy-Barré as we take a look back here. And it's that third cut. Oh, yeah, he aimed that saw really far over to the right-hand side of his block, and that means he went over the line. So that means a DQ for Pierre Puy-Barré. Unfortunate for the Frenchman, but Danny Marr will be happy that he's got himself a podium spot here, and let's take a look at his cuts. Bit of a thick initial cut, but he seemed pretty relaxed through the whole thing, and he managed to get that last cookie on the floor clean. Good job. So Pierre Puy-Barré DQ and is out here, and that means it's going to be third place for Mr. Danny Marr.
Well, of course, DQ is always unlucky in this case for Pierre, but to be honest, Danny was faster, so I think that's fair and that's fine. And I think we should take a closer look at the three cuts from Danny Marr because they were pretty good. Troy, you ready for that?
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it. Now, if you watch the cuts here this time around from Danny Marr, there was no hesitation whatsoever. He got right in there fast, and you could see it takes no time at all. You blink and you miss the whole competition. So, yeah, he was quick.
Except for that last cookie, I felt he lost a bit of time on that last cut.
Yeah, the saw was sort of shucking and jiving on the way down on that third cookie. You're absolutely correct. And if we get a different view from it here maybe, which doesn't look like we're going to get, but there was that little adjustment that he had to make. But it's the saw. The things are so powerful, it just wants to do its own thing. So that's why you have to have that power and that control in your body alone just to be able to manage the power of the saw. Alrighty then, so moving on to the main event. Martin Harms, he's been good all day long. He's been looking consistent and solid going up against Christoph Geisler, who we know has pedigree. Here we go.
Timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Great start by both of these warriors. Look at this. Martin Harms with a little bit of a lead, and he's got it at 6:21. Christoph Geisler with a 6:70, 49 hundredths of a second back from Martin Harms. That looked great. And you can see here on that initial cut, barely any swing at all with that huge 30-kilogram machine, although he did almost lose the tip of the blade into the log a bit. And there, Christoph Geisler's first cut looking very good for the Swiss man, but he was just not quite fast enough. So Martin Harms wins it. Nicely done by the man from the Netherlands. He wins the Virtual European Hot Saw Challenge with a time of 6:21 against Christoph Geisler, just 49 hundredths of a second back. Amazing, amazing format here. I like it. I really like it.
Now, that was really enjoyable. Martin Harms, congratulations from our side. Great stuff. But we need to take a closer look at those winning cuts. Troy, let's find out what made this man the champion of the Virtual European Hot Saw Challenge.
Let's analyze this beastie. Come on. So he gets that saw started while he's lifting it up. Absolutely fantastic. And the flow, just no hesitation at all. Looks very, very good.
He's going to be very happy with that.
No doubt about it. And you can see here, you know, that first cut, really nice and tight in. Watch the tip of the saw blade as he comes back up on this upstroke cut, though. Almost loses it into the wood, which not necessarily the worst thing, but you don't want to have it in there so that you've got a piece of extra that needs cutting off.
Congratulations, Martin Harms. You are the champion. And let's take a look at the overall standings with Komarek, Kugler, Dubitsky, Swan, Puy-Barré, Marr, Geisler, and on top, Martin Harms, the champion of this new format, the Virtual European Hot Saw Challenge. And I really enjoyed that, Troy, because he had that competition vibe. I mean, he didn't have the fastest time winning.
No, absolutely
But he brought
not.
the good times.
He was actually slower than Danny Marr with that winning run, but, you know, it's head-to-head, right? So that's how that elimination tree works. That's just the way it goes. That's competition. And it's a lot of fun because it's a new format. I mean, normally we see the hot saw on stage by itself with the guy with two plexis on both sides to protect everybody around because these machines are so crazy. And this head-to-head format is really cool. I liked it quite a lot.
Yeah, and you need a consistency. And we have a little surprise for our champion. Let's take a look because his colleague Rick van Drielen surprises him with the trophy. I think. And we're going to see that right now. Now that's what I call a happy man, and hopefully we can talk to Martin live now. Martin, congratulations.
Thank you.
It looks like you're a bit surprised.
Yeah, it's really a surprise.
But you're happy, obviously, and tell me, what does it mean to you to win this title?
Yeah, it means a lot because hot saw is one of the most wonderful disciplines I find it, and yeah, this is really cool. And because the game was all alone, you don't know how. So this is really perfect.
And competing without spectators, well, we're getting used to that. But how was it to compete without any other athletes?
Yeah, that's really strange to do the competition all alone. But yeah, in this strange year with COVID-19 is this perfect idea for a competition, and to win it, it's great.
Well, what a fantastic start into the new year, Troy. I think we had great fun, and this man, he's gonna really celebrate with his family. It looks like everybody was very happy that he won this new competition, the Virtual European Hot Saw Challenge. Troy, anything you want to add?
I mean, it was a lot of fun, and like I said off the top, I'm a bit of a gas head, so the sound, the noise, and I mean, usually we would have the smell as well from those chainsaws, but unfortunately we didn't have that. But what a great idea, what a great way to keep the competition running, keep the athletes in the mix and everything. And yeah, I mean, nice way to start off 2021 with a happy winner in the Netherlands.
Absolutely. So it's time to say goodbye with the pictures of the day. Hopefully see you guys soon. Till then, bye-bye. Stay safe.
Ciao, gang.